You wake up tomorrow morning, but the familiar hum of civilization, the traffic, the construction, the distant sirens is gone. There is only silence. The planet is completely, utterly empty. Our coffee is left half drunk. Our cars sit idling in traffic. And our projects are left forever unfinished. So, the first few minutes, the world we built, a complex machine of automation and routine, continues to run on autopilot. In Times Square and Shibuya Crossing, massive screens advertise to no one. In millions of homes, smart thermostats maintain the perfect temperature for empty rooms. High above, nearly 10,000 airplanes are still in the air. Their autopilots are engaged, but there are no hands to take the controls. After 15 or 20 minutes, automated warnings will blare in empty cockpits. And then, one by one, they will begin to fall from the sky, becoming thousands of fiery meteors crashing into oceans, forests, and the edges of our cities. The same fate awaits high-speed trains, which will derail at hundreds of kilometers per hour. Within a few hours, our pets, the creatures we bred for companionship, begin to realize they are alone. For dogs, pack animals tied to their human families, their howls become a mournful soundtrack for the twilight of mankind. Cats, on the other hand, being solitary and adaptable predators, quickly revert to their wild instincts. They are the first to truly start a new life. By evening, the first fires begin to ignite across our cities. A forgotten pan on a hot stove, a candle left burning, a simple short circuit in an overloaded grid. With no fire departments to answer the call, these small flames grow into hungry infernos. At the same time, the digital world begins to crumble. The massive server farms that power the internet overheat without human maintenance. The web of our global consciousness slowly, quietly goes dark. Within the next 48 hours, a global blackout occurs. The power plants that run on coal and natural gas burn through their immediate fuel reserves. New York, London, Tokyo sink into a deep primal darkness. For the first time in over a century, the Milky Way is visible above their concrete skylines. But the most dramatic events are happening underground. The massive pumps that keep our subways from flooding have stopped. In New York City alone, 50 million liters of water must be pumped out every single day. In just a couple of days, the subway tunnels that formed the arteries of our cities transform into a network of dark underground rivers. And then there are the real-time bombs. The world's 440 nuclear power plants. They switch to their backup diesel generators, but their fuel will only last for a few days. When it runs out, the cooling systems that contain the immense power of the atom will fail. The reactor cores will begin to melt down uncontrollably, and us setting the stage for hundreds of new Chernobyls across the globe. After 1 week, the world is on fire and shaking from explosions. The nuclear meltdowns begin, releasing vast clouds of radioactive particles into the atmosphere. At the same time, oil refineries and chemical plants, without their cooling systems, become volatile. They erupt in colossal fireballs, painting the sky with black, toxic smoke. The air for a time becomes a chemical soup. Against this apocalyptic backdrop, a new world order is emerging. Animals begin to reclaim their ancestral lands. Coyotes confidently roam the highways of Los Angeles. Herds of deer wander through shopping malls. Zoos become tragic prisons. The great predators, lions, tigers, and bears, locked in their cages, are among the first to die. After 1 month, water has completely redrawn the map. Dams, weakened by pressure and neglect, start to crumble and burst. Rivers are freed from their concrete channels, returning to their natural paths and washing away towns and bridges. And in the decaying cities, a new king is crowned, the rat. Freed from human control and with a nearly infinite supply of rotting food, their populations explode in a geometric progression. One year has passed, the planet is unrecognizable. Nature is waging a relentless, full-scale invasion. Asphalt, which we saw as permanent, is shattered by the patient, unstoppable force of roots. Our streets become green canyons filled with weeds, wildflowers, and saplings. Ivy and wild vines climb our tallest skyscrapers, masking them in a shroud of green and slowly prying apart their stone and glass facade. Most of our domestic animals, bred for traits other than survival, have perished. The specialized dog breeds, the cattle, the pigs, and the chickens, were entirely dependent on us. Only the toughest have survived. Mongrel dogs have formed feral packs, relearning the ways of the wolf. And our house cats have become incredibly efficient super predators, devastating local bird populations. After 10 years, rust and water have done their work. Our metal world is dissolving. Steel bridges, power lines, and the skeletons of millions of cars are oxidizing into dust. The iconic Brooklyn Bridge, once a symbol of human engineering, groans under the weight of corrosion before collapsing into the East River. Our skyscrapers still stand as hollowed-out monuments, their windows shattered, their interiors now vertical caves where wind howls and birds build their nests. 100 years have passed. Human civilization is now a subject for archaeology. Most of our skyscrapers have finally fallen, leaving behind strange man-made hills of concrete and twisted rebar. Our only real-world glimpse into this future, the Chernobyl exclusion zone, shows us how resilient nature is. The city of Pripyat is now a forest, home to thriving populations of wolves, bears, lynx, and wild horses. This same process is now complete across the entire planet. So what will remain of us? Concrete dams and massive granite sculptures like Mount Rushmore will endure for millennia. Our most lasting legacy, our true geological signature, will be twofold. The radioactive isotopes from our power plants buried deep within the earth, and plastic. Billions upon billions of tons of it will not decay. It will simply break down into smaller pieces, forming a permanent, toxic layer in the rock strata of the future. And now, for the most astonishing realization of all, after 1,000,000 years, almost nothing visible of our civilization will remain. The powerful forces of geology will have ground our cities into dust and buried them miles beneath the surface. If, in the distant future, another intelligent species were to visit Earth, they would not find the ruins of New York or the Great Wall of China. They would find a wild, thriving world, but their sensitive instruments would detect strange anomalies deep within the rock and ice, a thin, artificial layer of plastic polymers. The Earth has existed for 4.5 billion years, modern humans for perhaps 200,000. If you were to compress the entire history of this planet into a single 24-hour day, our whole existence, from the first cave painting to the moon landing, would be less than 2 seconds before midnight. We are just a flicker in time. We are not the masters of this planet. We are simply its most recent and most impactful inhabitants. We are, as far as we know, the only species on this planet capable of understanding its own potential for extinction, and that gives us a unique responsibility.